Once again, we find ourselves here with another podcast. This week, we're giving you guys an extra topic just because we got so much to talk about, such as Daredevil deflections, teasing Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield in the MCU. And speaking of the MCU, it's officially going R-rated, so what's up now, naysayers? And so much more. And as always, before we get into it, thank you to everybody that is a member of the community, tossing us a few dollars a month for all that extra content. Make sure you guys are checking those tabs, because videos, extra discussions, let's plays, and all that is slowly rolling out throughout the week. And thank you to all the latest subscribers. Hopefully you guys are tuning in for the podcast, so without any more intro or whatever the hell I'm doing, let's just get to the damn show. Yeah, something somewhere for the best or better or worse, I guess.
And hey, WandaVision tomorrow.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'm so hyped for that.
Can't all be bad.
Yeah, no, everything's coming up U.S. house. Sort of. Oh, it's another podcast. Now, depending on when you guys are hearing this, if you're on the YouTube community page, you're hearing this before WandaVision. And if you're on the CBC main YouTube channel and listening to this in the audio form, it's after WandaVision. So we're not talking about the first episode in this because of those very reasons. But you can probably find our review and spoiler-filled discussion and all that on the YouTube channel already, because we're definitely going to be talking about it, since it's been a long time overdue for new MCU content since Far From Home. God damn, it feels so long ago.
You mean Homecoming 2?
Homecoming, yes, Homecoming 2. How could I forget that sly Kevin Feige? Now, of course, I am your host, Armin, and I am joined, as always, by Mitch.
What's up? You can follow me on Twitter at Mitch692.
So, yeah, there's going to be a lot to discuss in this podcast. We got an extra topic here just because we're trying to cram a little bit more in this and, trying to really get it all out of the way. So, without anything you need to mention, Mitch, before we get going into this whole rundown?
No, not off my head, no. I think we're good to start.
Sounds good. Well, there we go. So, if you guys don't mind, we're just going to skip all sorts of the intro formalities and whatever else we might need to shill or do and just get to this damn podcast. And we're like, I don't know, half a day away from WandaVision coming out. So, it's going to be good stuff to talk about next week.
What time does it drop for you in the morning?
I don't know, like 3 to 4 a.m., I think. I mean, that's when I got my alarm set for, so if it's not and I'm awake and grumpy, I'm going to be real mad.
I was going to say, well, 3 to 4 is in 12 hours, but I remembered time zones are a thing.
Yeah, so, yes. Those pesky time zones.
That 5-hour difference.
And I don't even know how these time zones work if the Earth is flat. What the... Goddamn. I mean, it just doesn't make sense. Somebody explain that
It's
to
the
me.
light bulb. They have like a giant light bulb and a piece of paper over one side of it, so it casts a shadow.
Oh,
and they just move it on a railing over the disc.
Okay, that makes sense. We'll explore this further in new Stephen King things, I'm assuming, because Stephen King goes there in some of his books. So,
or it would just be the next big news in America, because that's
true.
The way you're headed.
True. It's true. So with that in mind, let's just get to our something that I don't think is really that shocking to most people, because we've kind of talked about it before, but now it's been sort of just confirmed in a weird way. It's like, yeah, we're doing a follow-up to Loki's first season with a second season. And not only that, Kevin Feige said they're looking at all their shows as something that can come back for multiple seasons, but there's certain ones that fit this better than others. I think Loki more or less is in that mold. It's like, yeah, we can do a Loki season 2, so
even if you haven't got an idea for Loki, it's more a necessity. It's like people love Loki. Loki sells. You have to have season 2.
Yeah. I mean, it's that type of thing, when Loki's not around, everybody should be asking, where is Loki? It's kind of like that. It's the Poochie scenario of the MCU. So I'm okay with it, though, like, especially with Loki, because his series seems so unique and it's so different to the MCU because he's in his own little corner of the multiverse now where they can just do whatever. So, like, technically Loki is in this position where that could keep going for a decade if they wanted it to, and just to do whatever the hell it wants on its own, which I really like and appreciate, like that type of a approach to that series. So it's
he's a very unique character in that sense.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the comics, what they've been doing recently, it's like, he's just done everything.
Yep.
He's done everything. He's been everyone. There's not much left for him to do. Someone will find something for him to do. I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
But my question is, what exactly? Like, is season 2 just going to be more of the same as season 1?
I mean,
and more time, like TVA stuff, or is it going to be TVA stuff but different?
Well, see, that's the weird thing, because like we've talked about it before, where when they announced Loki, it was clumped in with the whole multiverse Doctor Strange WandaVision, and then slowly they sort of like divorced it from that concept and said, well, it's not really part of that story anymore. Obviously, Kevin Feige said, due to changes in plans and all that, we have to change some series around. So it makes me think that maybe Loki will have some sort of bigger connection to everything happening, maybe more in the second season. He'll start aligning himself up with whatever happens after all of this, because, and just kind of that changing of messaging has to be a reason for this decision, I would assume, as well. So
it very much feels like they kind of went, let's put Loki let's show Loki getting put in the spot where he then has to deal with it, because right now, obviously, the Loki we followed is dead. This is a completely different Loki, because it's from an alternate timeline, so we have no idea who this character is at this point.
Yep.
So we've got to set him up in this exact position, and then once Doctor Strange and WandaVision and Spider-Man have come out and done their thing, then Loki season 2 is the repercussion of that, and then that's how he ties into everything.
Exactly, and I think it's also one of those scenarios where, as Kevin Feige said, we're looking at other series for potential seasons, and you can kind of see which ones fit that mold. Another season of the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, probably like, I don't know, Captain America and the Winter Soldier, or whatever they'll end up calling it. Yeah. It makes sense in a couple years. You're not just going to have Captain America be retired after one season when he finally gets the suit at the end, right? Like
I think WandaVision is primed for a second season as well.
I would say so too, and I have a feeling that that'll come as a result of whatever happens in Doctor Strange 2. They'll be like, here you go. So I think we're going to land in that position where MCU seasons are going to end up being like seasonal breaks of Daredevil, where it was like between two seasons we had like a year and 7 months. Yeah. We were like, what the hell? Like,
and you won't notice it because they're just pumping out that that content milk,
right?
That poor MCU cow,
dude. I still have friends that are like I was talking to a friend recently, and they watch the MCU, right? Like, they watch it, they're a little bit more than casual. They're a little more tuned in, but they still aren't aware of, like, everything, right? And we were talking about what's coming up, and I was like, man, I really can't wait for Doctor Strange 2. And he paused for a second and was like, oh, I didn't even realize that Doctor Strange 2 hasn't happened yet, because he's been in so many places like Thor and the Avengers movies. Yeah. It's all like, it all sort of seamlessly just kind of clicks together that you don't really realize it, which I think is an advantage. So 2 to 3 years between a certain season, like let's say at WandaVision, nobody's going to notice that. Like, nobody. No. It's not even a problem. So,
especially if, even if it is like a 2 to 3 year break, it's the way they're doing it, where they're like movies. I know The Mandalorian is an example of you can just do it every year, and for all we know, they are going to do it every year.
Yeah.
But eventually, you're going to run out of space, so you're going to have to start alternate shows through the years, or even just do seasons and done. Treat them like a movie. So there you go. You've got 3 sequels. You're still going to come back, but for now, we're going to put you back on the side. So maybe it works like that. Yeah. It's just like, or even like, here's WandaVision season 1, a year break, WandaVision season 2.
I mean, yeah, exactly. Or like, yeah, we just don't know how they're going to approach it. They certainly have ideas, so yeah.
Especially right now, where I assume their production for TV is more like how Marvel was in Phase 1.
Oh God!
So it's not the biggest, and they haven't, the resources and people they've got isn't exactly a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, it's scaled back compared to what it is now, but it's still big, right? Like,
I'm saying that they've got like 26 different things in development right now. So hey,
yeah, exactly. Oh, amazing. So when we find out more, we'll talk about it and how the status quo is going to change. But in due time, know that there's probably more follow-up seasons coming, and Loki definitely seems like it's getting a second. Feige finally talking a little bit about X-Men, Wolverine, and their future, I guess, integration into the Marvel Studios brand. And he did say, look, I know where they're going to go. I know what I'm planning. Like, and he said specifically they're looking at already the next decade of Marvel content and placing the pieces out, which we know is happening.
2029.
Yeah, it's crazy. Which I believe him 100%, because why wouldn't you be? That's what they did in the first place. Yeah. So, like, it makes sense. On the X-Men front, this is an interesting one, because when you bring in the X-Men, you're not just bringing in the X-Men, you're bringing in an entire new universe. Like, that's what the X-Men in Marvel Comics can almost exist on their own, and they largely do have their own stories that never really interconnect with the main stuff. And just like, if you just like reading X-Men, you can literally survive off that and not read any other comics, and you're going to be overwhelmed, because that's how big their brand is. So it's like,
I mean, just look at them currently.
Right. Yeah, exactly. So I have a feeling that, like, this next phase that we see is all over the place. Like, you have Blade and all these things. I have a feeling once this phase wraps up and we start going into the next one, they're going to just come out and be like, look, guys, here's your Deadpool, which we'll talk about in a little bit. Here's your core X-Men. Here's Wolverine. Here's a New Mutants. Here's a TV series. They're going to announce like 5 X-Men projects across 2 years and being like, so, think you have enough X-Men yet? It's like, oh, this is their plan, like, so.
See, this is my thing, like, they waited nearly, or I say wait nearly a decade. They've left it to the point where Fantastic Four is going to be a decade after the last one.
Mm-hmm.
But obviously they didn't have everything for the entirety of those 10 years. And it's not quite 10 years, but, they didn't have the ability to even make it for that long.
Yeah.
But do they leave the X-Men that long?
I mean, it's a X-Men and Wolverine, guaranteed cash cow, right? If they were to speed into development and reboot it next year, it would make tremendous amounts of money with those brands in there. But I think Kevin Feige's intelligent enough to not abandon the current plans, because let's be real, Kevin Feige and Marvel Studios made Ant-Man a bigger profit than Superman. So I think Feige wants to keep diversifying everything and give us a little bit familiar, but a little bit of the, well, you don't know you want this, but trust me, you're going to want this, like they did with the last 3 phases. So, I mean, I honestly can't believe that they're going to take that long. Like, there's investors at Disney going, no, now. And Feige's just like, or not. And like, he has to fight them, being like, no, we do this the smart way. Right. So it's like, it'll be interesting to see how they roll it out, because I would assume there's plenty of people that know. Like, they look at the Fox numbers and they go, okay, but besides the screwy ones in the last year and a half, 2 years, before that, it's like, look at this money that this franchise pulls in. Like, look at the toys alone. They just started producing X-Men toys in the last year and a half, and like, they're constantly selling out because there's a demand for it. So it is kind of shocking that they're holding back for so long. Like, especially Wolverine. That's the big one.
So I think if anyone, Wolverine's going to be the one to come in first.
Oh God, yeah.
Like, you establish Wolverine as his own thing in a larger universe, a bit like Spider-Man. Mm-hmm. And then it's like, then we'll bring in the X-Men later down the line. I think that's how they play, because if you bring them in too soon, you're going to overshadow the Fantastic Four, and they need to make a big thing about that.
Right, exactly.
It's like, look, here they are. They are good characters. You will enjoy these characters. Forget the last 4 attempts. These are good characters. They can make money. Just watch.
Mm-hmm.
Then you give them time to breathe, and then you bring in X-Men down the line. Which could, 2029 is like what 10 years after the last X-Men movie.
Yeah,
ignoring New Mutants. So maybe.
I mean, for most people, as far as they're concerned, the X-Men ended with Logan because nobody saw the other two. So
it's true.
It's a weird relationship. Again, I think you're going to start seeing those droplets of things throughout the other franchises. Like you said, Wolverine, he's guaranteed going to stand alone first before he ever mingles with the X-Men, because you make that an event. You don't make that a throwaway.
He's in the next Avengers movie. Let's be honest.
Oh, 100%. 100%.
That's the next one.
Yeah.
So Harry is just a Canadian guy with claws. He's kind of short, but he's got claws.
Well,
and the yellow suit.
I honestly would not be shocked if, I don't know, what's some movie that's coming out in 2020? Who the hell knows? I won't be shocked if there's some movie that includes the Hulk and they go up into Canada and it's just here's your scene, fight Wolverine. Yeah. Get that there. Yeah. You got the poster, you got the thing. Here's the thing you want. Do it. It's almost too good for Feige not to do, right?
So they have to do that at some point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Or maybe they treat him like Wonder and Quicksilver. The next Avengers movie is when you introduce him.
Fine. I'll take it. Because the next Avengers movie is still 3 years away at least, if not more. So.
True.
Well, I guess
I like how he had to actually, you had to say it, there is going to be one at some point. Just relax.
Yep. Yeah.
We haven't announced one. It's just not in Phase 4. We're letting it breathe. Good.
That's how it should be with all of these things. Let them breathe for a little bit. Like these other things that you're gonna like, and then we'll get back to this, the normal.
It's it's the whole thing of you start small, you go big. You start off small, you go big. The small bit of build up is the room to breathe for the next bit.
Mm-hmm. So. Exactly. So in due time, we'll get more info. And when we do, WB, they seem to have kind of, well, okay, let's be real. It's WB. They've pivoted again. And I want to say it's for the best this time, because Ann Sarnoff, who's one of the big chief chairman of WB Entertainment now, she's the one that kind of came into power in the last year or so. She has more overseeing everything and how it's going to work. She kind of just laid it out saying, look, it worked with Crisis. We see that people want it. We're doing it with The Flash. We're just going to connect everything now and pull pieces in from wherever. Fine. Yes. Please. I think that's what everybody wants. I'll be real with you. That's the way they should have done it always.
I think it's one of those, no one wanted it at first, because obviously, they wanted the movies just to do it and the movies to be successful. And now it's just you know what? You can't do it in the movies or the TV. Just make everything one.
Mm-hmm.
At least that way it might resemble something good. And you can do something interesting with it.
And that's the thing, and I think this opens them up to that type of concept that we've talked about. It's hey, what if the DCEU introduces Green Arrow in one of the spin-offs, and they bring back Stephen Amell, or Constantine is just Matt Ryan in every version ever? Okay,
it should be.
Right, it can work, and it also opens them up to the possibility, remember when Titans and Doom Patrol started and they were connected? And then they decided, no, Doom Patrol's too good for Titans, so we're not going to connect them anymore. But it opens them up to the possibility where maybe you could just see the Doom Patrol roll into something else, and they just, appear somewhere. You're oh, I guess those characters played by those same actors just exist in this universe as well.
That's what they were going to do with Doom Patrol and Titans in the finale anyway.
Yep.
Yes, they had that crossover episode, but then they were going to bring them back, but it was going to be a different universe Doom Patrol, not the one that we saw prior in that season, which, in a way, good thing they cut that out, because that would have been confusing.
Yeah, yes, it would have.
It's is this the Doom Patrol from the show?
Yeah. It was a smart decision, and I think it's a smart decision that this is how they're going to treat the DC universe going forward, because I know people always get upset at us. Guys, I'm sorry. If you're in the mentality that DC succeeded over the MCU, you live in a different universe where you're seeing products that nobody else is. That I think that's got to become factual at some point, right? they're not ahead of the MCU in terms of, like, fan acceptance, unanimous, people are excited for all the next projects. Like, it's a completely different structure of how the MCU has been established to what DC was doing and how they're fragmented. And I think this just opens them up to do whatever the hell they want and sort of become their own more unique thing, like DC is when it comes to Marvel Comics. And I think a prime example of this is the new Future State, which I'm reading that, and I'm really enjoying it.
A lot of good things. Had a lot of good things about that.
It's really good. It is really good. And I was one of those people that went into the new Wonder Woman going, well, she's going to the CW, so I don't know how this is going to work. And it's literally been my favorite story out of Future State. I absolutely love that comic. And they're going to do that character on CW. I have my reserves because it's CW. But maybe they'll pull something off. I don't know. I'll hold judgment till I watch it. I'm one of the people that turned around on Batwoman somewhat after the first, 5-6 episodes. I sort of enjoy it now. Part of me still doesn't really like all of it, but I get an enjoyment out of it. So this, DC has this weird way of presenting their universe that I think just play into it in full force and don't hold back. It's the best thing they can do.
I want them to do what the comics do all the time and give us a multiverse map.
Yup.
Do a massive multiverse map and have that be your plan for your shows and your movies. And it's like, right, well, cool, we now know this one's over here. Like, this is connected to this, that's that, don't you know? And whatever else going forward. And then you can go like, oh, look, these two separate things connect here at some point. So that's them announcing that you're going to get a crossover here.
And it's, you say that, and it's crazy to think that we have the CW to thank for what's going to happen when that does happen, because they were the ones that spearheaded the whole Crisis thing and canonized pretty much everything. Like, there's that behind the scenes photo that a lot of people were passing around that came out a couple weeks ago of them having Superboy Prime, that those scenes were cut out of, and it's like, oh, and apparently he was going to punch the walls of reality, like in the comics, like he was literally going to do that and shatter realities in the show, but someone at WB was like, let's not do that, it'll be too confusing. It's like, no, people would have automatically understood it. Like,
yeah.
So I do think that is what they're ultimately going to do, and I won't be surprised if at the next DC Fandom, that's exactly what they do. They're just like, look, our big plan is, we have no plan, do whatever you want, it's all in the same universe, and we're like, finally, thank you, like, and it's cool. I'm super excited by that idea. Like, it makes me as a fan appreciate it more.
It's at least them understanding somewhat, or starting to show that they understand what DC is.
Yep.
So look, DC's never had continuity ever. You can say what you want. It's never had it. You played too much in the multiverse like that. You have no continuity. Full stop. So it's like, hey, let's just stop trying to make our own continuity and just do whatever we want.
I knew continuity in DC didn't make sense when they started to sell the new 52 on a shared continuity you'll understand and a timeline, and 3 pages into Justice League and 2 pages into Green Lantern, you go, this makes no sense. And they're like, yeah, we tricked you on that one, sucker.
Everything's reset apart from Green Lantern. You have to read the last 5 years to know what's going on.
And also, his comics are still part of Blackest Night, which he's still referencing zombie Batman, but Batman doesn't even know Green Lantern right now. It's all good, Jeff Johns.
This is before that.
Craziness. But yeah, DC's future. I'm more optimistic now than I ever was. So, get excited, I guess, everybody, because they're finally starting to figure this out, and it's do whatever the hell we can, and it'll all work out in the end. So there you go.
Let's just hope it's not another Wonder Woman 84.
Yeah.
Not that I've seen that movie still. It's out. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
Probably gonna watch it.
Not only did Kevin Feige not give you the Kevin Feige smile answer, he stares at you so blankly that it looks like he's about to pierce through your soul with his eyes.
Do you want to know why this is? It's the beard. He's now the new Feige. He doesn't give you the normal Feige face. He's now punished Feige. So he's got to give you a completely different look.
So in case you guys are wondering what the hell we're talking about, so Kevin Feige was interviewed by, I believe, Collider, and they asked him about the future of Marvel TV. all those brands and Charlie Cox specifically returning. To the Charlie Cox question, he literally stares at the interviewer like he's about to use Homelander's eye vision and like incinerate him. So that was kind of funny to watch.
I'll be perfectly honest. I feared for Weintraub's life at that point.
Yeah,
like, you could just see the intent. Like, he's like, if I look at this guy hard enough, his head will explode. It doesn't, thankfully. But there was that like small moment of, is he actually going to do it? And so, oh, no.
Mm-hmm. And
did the beard give him powers?
I found that kind of hilarious. And then the other part was he did further elaborate on it in the most Kevin Feige backwards, non-confirmative way I have ever heard. So he's like, so people like Marvel TV and there's hopes of those brands. What do you have to say? And he was like, well, Marvel TV and the Defenders and all that, they're like the comics. We can pull in pieces from all of it. What the hell kind of answer is that? Like,
everything's on the board.
I mean, I get that wherever Charlie Cox is going to come back as Daredevil, or Daredevil coming back in general, he doesn't want to just outright confirm it, but you would think he would at least say something a little bit different, right? Like,
I mean, if nothing's concrete yet, what can you say?
Yeah, that is true.
He's not going to go, oh yeah, we're talking to Cox and everyone right now. You know, we've got 90% of the cast and creators back. Like, hey, you know, they're not going to... If it's not done, there's nothing to say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I imagine they're still in that point. It's like, well, we need everyone back before we start planning doing this. And also, there's a lot on their plate enough as it is. Like, Daredevil can be after Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Still going to have to wait a little bit longer. Maybe they soft reboot. Maybe they just pick straight back up from where they were. We don't know.
I mean,
maybe
how
they're still
long?
trying to get the shows back to Netflix to decide all that.
And that's the thing. Like, at the point, like, let's say hypothetically, I'm with you on it. Daredevil probably after Fantastic Four, which means at least 3 years away, if not 4. At that point, if you bring back Daredevil, and even it's Charlie Cox, and you bring back some of that cast, you have to acknowledge that, oh yeah, all those seasons happened before the blip and the snap and all that. So it's like, oh, this character has now aged 11 years since we last saw him. Okay, so it's effectively going to be a soft reboot regardless of what you do. So, like, you know.
I mean, will it?
I mean, sure, you can acknowledge it, but who... I mean, there's always those newer people that are going to tune in for the MCU, right? So it's like, you kind of have to downplay that these other shows you're acknowledging are like, they're on the rival network. They're not available here.
Well, that's if those shows stay on Netflix.
That is true, because we've seen some remove, like other Netflix exclusives leave eventually or get shared, so it could happen.
You know, like, for all we know, it might just expire and Disney gets them anyway, or Disney gives them a fat check, and because Netflix are running in the black in the minute.
Yeah.
So, who knows? But no, it's. I think if they get the shows back, they're going to have to do a season 4. You can't just leave season 3 where it was.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you reboot the thing, then it's not the Daredevil people wanted.
Right. That's the thing.
You know, and they're at this point as well where people are wanting them to do stuff in that 5-year gap. So people are wanting them to, like, kind of stay still and look back a little bit anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, it's a 5-year gap and half of the people are still around. So what the hell happened in that 5 years? Like, tell us something, please. You know, be interesting. So they have that workaround. At the same time, you could still do a season 4, end season 4 on the blip, and then do a season 5.
True. Yeah, true.
You know, Spider-Man jumped around a lot. In fact, Spider-Man does that constantly. It's like, hey, I'm over here now. I'm like 5 years in the future.
Yeah. Quite the leaps for Spidey, so yeah, I think it could work.
You know, even if Daredevil doesn't dust, which I think at this point, I don't think you should. I think you should kind of like leave him to be there and to deal with everything.
I mean, I think that would kind of be... he'd essentially, I think you kind of put him into the Hawkeye position where he like kind of lost his mind and goes on this vigilante rant. Like, I would love to see, like you said, you do a season set during the blip of what Daredevil was doing, and maybe it's like reunite him and Frank, because maybe they're starting to see a little bit with the other's way, because, you know, how everything's changed. Yeah. It's like...
See, I was thinking the complete opposite direction.
Oh, you want him to
double down on the love stuff.
Ooh.
Kind of Iron Man 3 in a way, where it's less Daredevil, it's more Matt Murdock. I almost call him just Charlie Cox then. It's less Daredevil, more Charlie. But yeah, like have him, you know, because crime's obviously going to go way up at that point.
Oh, yeah.
People are going to need a lawyer. And hey, why not do lawyer stuff?
True.
Have him be a lawyer for vigilantes. And it's like a really disgruntled lawyer. And he's like, hey, I have to defend this vigilante even though I am one. Like, conflict of interest.
That could work. And also, you could then also, because you got that 5-year gap, if you really wanted to in a couple of years, you could bring in certain characters. Like, you could be like, hey, well, Natasha was active, you know? Like, you could bring her in. They have a little thing that goes on. Like, you could fit that in there and retroactively add him in. It's like, well, yeah, he doesn't want anything to do with anybody by the time Endgame rolls around, so we understand.
I think it's really if it all goes the way everyone wants it to, that 5-year gap is a perfect way to be like, hey, look, it was loosely tied in before, now it's definitely tied in.
Yeah. Yep.
And you can, it's a perfect gap because none of the huge names are really back. Yes, you have the original Core 6 Avengers, but no one, they're not really that active. So you can just go, hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You could have, you know, a bit of resentment. It's like you were gone. I had to pick up your pieces even more. So even before all that stuff happened, you still had to pick up the little guy's pieces because the ivory tower and all that stuff.
Right. I mean, yeah, there's
set up that.
Right. You could do all that and kind of play it up. Yeah, I think that's a perfect opportunity, and I hope they do. I just really hope they do, because don't let these characters go to waste. Like, all the Marvel Defenders characters, there's so much potential with, like, all of them, literally, so...
And, like, I know people are like, oh, it's just be easy to reboot. It's like, is it, though? Because if they reboot it, what... If they do reboot it, what do you want them to do with it? Do you want them to reboot it just for the sake of doing it so it is 100% connected now and just do the same thing again? It's like, well, you just seen that, so what's the point of doing it?
Right.
It's like, oh, just reboot it because the hand was lame. It's like, well, take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Like, I'll happily accept that we have a hand that isn't that great if we can get Daredevil into the show. And hey, guess what? Even if it isn't that great, look at what, like, I like the Mandarin in Iron Man.
Same.
It's going to out there, but look what Shang-Chi's doing.
Yep. Exactly.
So, hey, you remember this thing? Yeah, we're actually going to pick up on this thread because this was fake and we're doing this. Like, here's the actual real one. We can do something different with it.
That's the thing. You could take the hand and be like, oh, this wasn't even like the real one. Here's the real one over there. They've been fighting Wolverine and they're based out of Madripoor or something. Like, because Wolverine's fought the hand a dozen times. So, like, tying in with some of those other ninja clans and be like, look, they're all kind of from the same, you know, direction, but these guys weren't really the hand. Here you go. Here's the new take on it. Like,
or like everything else, just, you know, you haven't even got to say, oh, it's a new one. It's just like they've got better.
Yep.
Like they've had character development. Guess what? The Hand's never had that.
Yeah.
Like, here you go. Here's development. They're gonna double down the resurrection stuff and get back everyone that was lost in Daredevil. Hey, guess what? Here's everyone back again.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the Hand's now gonna go in this direction.
Mm-hmm.
I think people have the best intentions with their little theories and what people think they should do. People are not very creative. They will go for the laziest route possible.
Well, I mean, Professor X just made them all forget that the X-Men were there.
Oh, just do the multiverse. No. Don't crutch every crutch. Just because
exactly. I mean, we'll talk more about this. I'm assuming this is not the end of Daredevil because they can't avoid it using them. So,
no. And also, it's a Feige non-answer. You know what happens when Feige gives a non-answer.
Yep.
It's happened.
Because if it's
there is something going on here.
Right, because if it was a no, he would say no, which he recently did on multiple things. So it's a Feige non-answer because there's things happening. That's sort of how you take his answer. So
Like the fact that he even said, everything's on the board.
Yep.
Like, there you go. He doesn't hate these shows as everyone would have you believe on Twitter.
Well,
like, fun fact, those people have been wrong for the last 5 years.
And I mean, those people also say that Kathleen Kennedy didn't know that Luke Skywalker was in the finale of Mando. The person that signed the paycheck and was there when they shot it, she had no idea. So,
yeah.
Who you gonna believe, I guess? Who you gonna believe? So Kevin Feige had an interesting response to getting asked about Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Daredevil as well. He said that, he sees the rumors. He can't keep up with all of them because there's so many, but he sees the big ones, the videos, the articles, and all that. And he said there's elements of what's been said that's really strikingly close and true, and then some of it's just like, this isn't even in the ballpark of what we're doing. So, and this was, a reference to Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, again, all these characters, Spider-Man 3 rumors and villains and all that. So you kind of look at everything that's been said about Spider-Man 3, and I guess everything sort of involving that multiverse and those characters. And I guess now we know he did confirm a bunch of it's correct. I mean, Tobey Maguire is a given because, let's be real, that's a given.
We've seen him on set.
Exactly. That's one of those things.
Well, we've seen both of them going down a set, actually.
Yeah. I mean, there's that. There's also that time that they were shooting that 1 week in New York. Like, it was the first shoot of Spider-Man 3 to do some pickup shots. And then people were like, why is Andrew Garfield there? And they're like, well, he's shooting a new movie. It's like, he is, but shooting that movie ended like a week ago. So people were trying to see if maybe that's connective, which honestly, it looks like he's back in the movie. So probably, we don't know. There's
new Andrew Garfield set pictures for another movie he's doing. Everyone's like, oh, look, there he is in Spider-Man. It's like, no.
Yeah.
It's not Spider-Man.
Right. So, I mean, we kind of understand that he's not going to say, yes, they're in it, because this is also a Sony joint venture. He can't just spoil everything of theirs, which is why they didn't reveal everything over at that investors call, because, their joint partnership with Sony, that's on Sony's time. And right now, we don't even know what's going to happen with that film, or the likes of Venom 2, because Morbius got delayed, and last time Morbius got delayed after Venom got delayed after Morbius, so another round of delays is coming in Hollywood. So
who'd have guessed that one?
Right. So I mean, there's already analysts saying, you're not seeing Venom till at least mid 2022. Like, that's that is
surprise me.
Far away. Now, do you think that they can delay Spider-Man again? Because how much are they going to have to reshuffle if Sony delays that film? And especially because Disney has a hand in it. Like, that's,
I mean, it depends how much, like, Venom's going to be in it, doesn't it?
That's true, yeah. Yeah.
Like, if neither really connects to each other, but, Venom could be in Spider-Man 3, but Venom could be set anywhere. Like, you could just shuffle it around regardless, but it also depends. I suppose it's got to come out before Doctor Strange, doesn't it? Spider-Man.
Yeah.
So they got a little bit of leeway, not a lot, but they got a little bit. Obviously, a lot of it depends on the current situation. But if they can't keep doing it forever.
No.
they just can't. It's a simple fact. They can't keep delaying it. And then they know this. Every studio knows this. Sony's in a weird spot because I think they're like one or two studios that doesn't have their own outlet. So it's like, how do we put these movies out?
Yeah.
No, Disney can just go ahead and go, yeah, here's Black Widow on Disney Plus Premier Access. Here's every movie day and date in, which I think is clearly going to be the way things go, because going to have to.
They got a couple that are doing that, and if these delays keep persisting, which they will, Black Widow's supposed to come out in, 2 months? When is it? End of May? No, start of May. It's the first week of May. So
I was gonna say.
So we got 3 months. I mean, they got to commit to it in the next month or so, and I would assume by the Super Bowl, because you would want to drop a spot if you're committed to it, right? So
yeah, 7th of May, at least for the UK, I believe.
Yeah. So
yeah, it's incredibly soon. and they need to start marketing. You know, Fuggy's even said like, "Oh yeah, it's not like who knows, like it's not really a concrete date." Which, if anyone ever thought it was a concrete date, you're kind of willfully ignoring the world around you right now. So,
and let's be real. Looking at the well, look, you can only put it this way. Looking at the disastrous release of Wonder Woman 1984, it's made like under 140 million worldwide.
I know it was over 100 million when I last saw it. I haven't really been keeping up with it.
Yeah,
I was like, that's not so bad, and then I just never. I've seen that like, I think theatrically it's just been dropping and dropping and dropping.
Yeah, like,
which I'm not going to hold it against it, and no one can. It's just a current situation. There's just more proof of like, look, it's not viable to put something out in a theater. You're gonna get your people going week one, and that's it.
So Wonder Woman 1984, in the almost month it's been out, because it released earlier in the international, 131.4 million worldwide.
I mean, it's not horrendous.
It's not, but at this rate,
considering like one of the 6 biggest markets, i.e., me, in the UK, the second it came out, we're like, oh yeah, lockdown. Yeah, it's like,
and the big thing here is like Wonder Woman needs to make like 500 million to just make its budget and marketing and break even. Black Widow will be in the same situation. They're looking at that. Spider-Man will get affected by all of this, depending on what Sony looks at these numbers for. And rest assured, Sony is going to look at the Marvel numbers as well and know what they're doing. So I think it's interesting to see how they're talking about the future of everything and all these rumors and things. And they got to understand that Spider-Man 3 is $1 billion frame. That's $1 billion guarantee at any other given year. But where we're at right now, I'd be surprised.
Nothing's making close to 500 million.
No.
If something does, I'd be shocked.
Yeah.
Be like, wow, people really want to die, huh? But it's. I know people going to be like, oh, but streaming, you don't make profit. It's like you got to look at streaming differently with movies.
I mean, streaming.
It's like like Disney can charge 30 or 20 for a movie on there, but you've also got to take into account the new people that sign up.
Yup.
So add 5 onto that, or 10, or whatever the price is going to be.
And their exponential growth that they're expected to hit 150 mil subscribers by the original, we're going to hit 25 million by this date. Pretty impressive. So, I mean, there's already analysts saying, they're probably going to catch up to Netflix by their original estimates of 50 million. So,
that's nuts.
And
that's nuts.
By the end of this year, I think it'll be telling. And I won't be surprised if Disney, since they do have a quarter budget stake in development of Spider-Man stuff, I honestly would not be surprised if things aren't going back to normal. They're like, look, here's our new plan is WB but smarter. So here we go. Like,
Also, you know that it's at least on the cards because we've heard that they've been sorting those new contracts out to have this into effect.
Yep.
It's like, look, we're not trying to screw you over. If this does go to streaming, this is how the pay is going to work out. WB didn't do that. That's why they announced everything and they got instantly shat on. And now they're trying to things are slowly getting walked back.
Mm-hmm.
So WB jumped. They jumped before they looked. Disney are kind of like, there's a lot here.
WB jumped into something without thinking ahead. What? What?
Which it's unfortunate because it is a bit uncharted waters at the minute. We don't know, and no one knows how this thing's going to work. Like, is it viable? It will be viable at some point. I guarantee it. Is it right now?
Yeah,
maybe not necessarily. There's something to be made there, but we can't say yes or no for certain at this point because you don't know how to measure success with a stream. And I think.
Yeah,
I just looked at the topic list and I was just thinking, wow, we got off topic really bad here.
Nah, it's all kind of rolls in though. It rolls in.
It does kind of. That's why I just stopped. I was like, oh yeah, that's what we were talking about. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see what happens. I still say, I said it for a year at this point near enough that it will be Disney Plus.
I have a feeling once we see how this rolls out, because Sony's the one that's willing to delay everything, and they're banking a lot of money on many of these actors and things. So, I mean, we'll see. In due time, we'll know how this goes. So, we'll come back to it soon enough, I assume.
I'll say, to end the topic on, what do you think he was referring to when he said some things are way off? Because I think everyone kind of knows which one everyone thinks.
Daredevil?
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's one glaring like sore thumb in the list of rumors.
I mean, out of all the rumors that make sense for Spider-Man 3, Daredevil is the most jarring one. Like, why? Yeah. Why?
Here's this multiverse movie. Oh, Daredevil's in it. It's just like, what?
Here's the most grounded Marvel character to date to exist on TV. Wait, what?
He's the dude that gets tied in hallways. Multiverse.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? What's he gonna do against Sinister Six? Like, come on.
Here is a dude who got punched in the ribs, cracked his rib, and had to lay in a bed for 3 episodes. All right, like what the hell is he gonna do? Like,
he would literally get slapped by Doc Ock once and be like, "Oh, kid, take it from here. Please. Let me just bleed out in a corner alone to die, because that's what I do."
So, call Claire. Oh,
who's Claire? Which Claire? We have 3 of them.
Oh, goddamn.
Unless Affleck comes back as Daredevil, and then.
I mean, he is working for Disney. He escaped the clutches of WB.
They've got to be pissed at that.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
Because studios don't like losing names like that.
No, they don't. It's like Nolan when he started to take a dump on WB. They were like, "Uh-oh, if we lose Nolan, what do we got?" Nolan. Yeah, they have.
Yep. 100% lost Nolan. Yeah, I agree. I think it's definitely Daredevil.
Oh, it's Daredevil. Yep. Yeah. I mean, we'll see if we're proven wrong, but I don't know how. I was going to
say the magic table of doubt says doubt for Daredevil.
Yep. Okay, so now that literally everybody from top to bottom in Disney, including the janitor, has confirmed that Deadpool 3 is in the MCU and it's R-rated, can everybody just now accept the fact that Deadpool 3 is R-rated and in the MCU?
No.
How are people still doubting this? Kevin Feige literally...
That's literally it. It's because it's Disney.
God damn.
That's the only argument you ever see. It's like, oh, Disney aren't going to do R-rated. They're going to fuck it up. It's like, guys, they've said from the start.
The start.
The minute they got them, Iger was out there looking at you dead in the camera. And like, it will be R-rated and in the MCU. The second they had this, guess who was in the banner for the Disney website? Deadpool.
Literally.
Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool.
Ryan Reynolds, Deadpool. The moment the acquisition was announced, and he was at the center of the entire banner. Mm-hmm. Like, guys, a banner is made so it draws your attention to the middle. And Deadpool was in the middle. I guess now, it is a thing, though, that people are kind of looking at, wait a second. They did confirm, yes, it's Deadpool 3, okay?
Yeah.
And yes, it's also an MCU film. And now people are going, please do explain yourself, sir. Because it's like, those things, they're weird. How do those fit in?
This is the magic of Deadpool. You don't have to explain that.
Exactly. That could literally be a running joke. That is the joke. Like, don't explain it.
They will explain it because that is also the magic of Deadpool, is you get to explain everything, and then, hey, it's just he's doing it because it's Deadpool. You can do whatever the hell you want with that character, and no one's going to question it because everyone knows it's Deadpool. Everyone knows what Deadpool's like at this point. So it's just like, oh, cool. He's giving a throwaway line about why this is happening.
I literally want the opening of Deadpool 3, right, to be him. And he's like, look, I don't know how to explain this. I'm kind of stupid. And he brings on Eric Salvig, and he has just a big board that he's pointing to, and Deadpool just voices that over. He's like, and then, and here's how I'm here. Now let's get to the movie. And that's it. Like,
he goes back to Thor: The Dark World, and he takes Salvig, he stops his presentation with that chalkboard that has 616 on it.
Yes.
And it's like, this is what's going on right now. Cool, moving on.
That's what we need. Like, just make it simple, to the point, Deadpool and stupid. Make it a joke, laugh a little, get to it. We're going to have Deadpool as a goddamn R-rated movie in the MCU, which I mean, that within itself is pretty
Be
awesome.
R-rated.
That it has to be, right? Like, I mean, like it's Blade.
Because they've said before that they're not opposed to doing R-rated Marvel movies. They're just going to have to put them under a banner that shows you that it's going to be different.
Right.
So could we get a new Marvel Studios logo?
Marvel Studios Knights brand or something could work. I mean, Marvel Studios Max. Yeah. I mean, I would hope Blade does it because, dude, it's
Blade.
There's blood everywhere. Blood, vampires. Like, come on. Which this also gives me hope that now they're not going to be bound to, like that certain style of storytelling. And we saw people. And we talked about it last show. People got outraged that WandaVision was going to have episodes that are all ages, technically, like 8 and up, let's say, like the general age. And people are like, what? That's childifying. And then everybody points out, well, Mando's half those episodes are the same rating. And they're like, well, that's different. It's like, no, it's the same. Like,
People are dumb.
Oh, yeah.
People are dumb. They're just dumb.
Yeah.
It's you look at. To bring it to current events, everyone's like, Antifa's done this, Antifa's done that. Like, it's all an Antifa, like, they're all actors and all that stuff. Right. Well, if they're all actors, why are you being proud of it? That's all happened and cheering on.
It's
like, you get what I mean. So, like, you can equate it to, like, well, Deadpool can be R-rated. Like, they can say it all they want, but, you're willfully choosing to ignore the fact. For why? I don't know. It all works.
It's going to be R-rated. They're going to put it out under the Fox Studios brand, or 20th Century Studios brand, because that's what it's going to go under, let's be real.
Would they want to put anything out under a Fox name at the minute?
Yeah.
I know there's separate things that people still have that connection.
Yeah, they do. And, there'll be a new sub-Marvel brand, and it opens them up to this world of possibilities. And technically then, I mean, this is, in a weird way now, that they confirmed this is all MCU and stuff. I mean, the Fox universe is weirdly canon now. Like,
I mean, that depends. They could easily go and be like, yeah, it happened it's a multiverse thing.
Oh, 100%.
It was over here. We haven't got to talk about it. Maybe before we know, Deadpool 3 kills the Fox universe.
Yeah.
If they want to do it, the easiest way to do it is just do that. I know it's a tired, played out fan theory at this point, and fan theories get dragged on to the point where they're non-existent. So I need Stark and Doctor Strange to do the facial hair bros high five. Right? No, they're not in that point. They don't know each other that well. They can't do that. That's just dumb.
Mm-hmm.
So because the Marvel Universe is eventually going to get to that point, but hey, it's an easy route. Just do it. Right. Obviously, depending how far out Deadpool 3 is.
Right, yeah. And it's also, it's kind of a cool, idea that this whole multiverse thing, which obviously we're going into the multiverse so deep in the next couple years that by the time we get to Deadpool, it's already going to be something that most fans are used to. So just dragging them into the proper MCU will seem like nothing. Like, literally it'll seem like nothing. And, I mean, for all we know, he might actually appear in one of the upcoming multiverse projects. We just have no idea. And we're like, oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
So it's not like they haven't got him on board already as it is. You know they're working on the movie, so.
Exactly. And we know they have all those suits and everything and all the assets that they got from Fox. So it's like, we don't know anything. There's nothing here I'm saying, but, they could have literally been like, hey, for WandaVision, Ryan, want to come on to Stagecraft and do a quick scene and we'll drop it in there? Sure.
Oh, please, no.
I would.
No,
that's the secret cameo, Mitch. That's the secret cameo.
No.
Ah.
No, please don't.
But no, see, he's not going to be Deadpool. He's just going to be a nosy neighbor who's just Ryan Reynolds, and he realizes he's Ryan Reynolds.
That'd be fine. That'd be perfectly fine with. No, if it's just Ryan Reynolds in there, it'd be perfectly fine. But the second it's, I know Ryan is just literally just playing himself as Deadpool.
Mitch,
the second you put Deadpool in there,
I've connected all of it.
No.
Neighbors in the town, in the 90s settings, they will go to a pizza place. 2 guys, a girl in a pizza place. We'll see Nathan Fillion. We'll see Ryan Reynolds. They'll be the pizza servers. It all ties back to ABC. They're going to make that canon. This is it.
I mean, at least that's probably more intelligent than 90% of people would have made it.
It's true, though, because everybody has the same dumb idea, and this is what needs to happen. I want him to just give them pizza.
I mean, at least it's kind of going with like a something. Like, yeah.
I watched that show. Not many people did. Fun fact, some of you kids listening to this were born when this show ended or much after it. Oof, I'm old. Damn. God damn.
I think if you want to feel old, Lost is nearly 20 years old at this point.
God damn it. This is what Deadpool needs to do as well. Make fun of how old everybody is. Be like, you guys remember that Deadpool movie came out like a decade ago? Oh, damn.
God, it really did, didn't it?
It's going to be like, what, a couple years? 3 years?
When did that first one come out? Was it 2014?
I'm gonna search Deadpool 1.
Oh, it was 2016 it came out.
Oh, okay. Wow, I was thinking 2015. I guess that was Days of Future Past, maybe? I don't know. One of those.
Possibly. So we were 5 years away from it being a decade old.
Oh, still. Damn. Well,
actually, no. It's 5 years, yeah.
In due time, I suppose. Now, here's a question I want to ask you. Did they just bring in Josh Brolin as Cable, and that's Cable?
I hope not. I didn't like his Cable.
No. I like him as Cable, but I don't like that Cable. I think that's sort of where I'm at, you know?
I like Brolin. I don't think he suited Cable at all.
I thought you really did look the part, though. Like,
I mean, he suits Rob Liefeld's version of Cable, which isn't Cable.
No, yeah.
And doing anything the way Liefeld would want it is an instant no. Because a very good life lesson. If Liefeld thinks it's a good idea, do the opposite.
Do the opposite. Guaranteed success here.
If you want to make it big, do the opposite of Liefeld.
Oh, that's sad, but it's true, though.
In fairness, Liefeld made it big, but he didn't stay there. If you want to stay big, do the opposite of Liefeld. Don't become an old angry man teetering on the edge of being the MAGA version of comics. Like, you don't really want to be there. Like, well,
I mean, at least it gets you enough of a fan base, I suppose, so there's something to be said to that.
Yeah.
But
then those people are dumb and blind.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I ain't
blind
disputing
bad
it.
thing, but they're clearly not physically blind, but they can't see.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they do. But yeah, I say stay away from Liefeld's version, and I guarantee Feige will. I guarantee he will. No,
the only person I want to be brought over is Domino.
See, I want Domino and Colossus because Colossus was pretty much on.
Yeah, but
point.
we're gonna get a good Colossus again anyway. We're probably gonna get a better Colossus.
I mean, yeah, that
so,
is. Yeah.
We can do Teenage Warhead again at some point. You know, you can even do the thing like he time travels to the MCU, like how they did the multiverse in Endgame.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, hey, here's a baby version of Teenage Warhead. Like, I'll see you in like a couple of years.
Oh, yeah, that could work. Yep.
Do it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's all fitting. I'm excited. You know, whatever they do, I'm excited by the idea that it's R-rated and that they're going to stick with what works and give us an R-rated MCU film. Because I have a feeling Feige's kind of going to let Ryan Reynolds unleash, but keep him on a leash.
Oh, God, please no.
Like, he's going to be like, no, Ryan, no. None of that.
Let Ryan think he's gone absolutely balls to the wall, but like it's Feige's idea.
Right, but he has a limiter on him, being like, no, you're too far gone. Let's dial that back to Deadpool 1 style, not Deadpool 2.
No, boy, down.
Yep.
It's like, hey, this is a fantastic idea, but what if we did this? Remember the idea you had? Like, let's do that idea of yours.
Why don't you take this great idea and work it in your own magic, but do it like this? Yeah, kind of like focus them. Yeah, it would work.
The reason why Feige has a grey beard and he's now punished Feige is because he's just trying to tame Ryan Reynolds. That's all it is.
Feige's going through his ultimate midlife crisis right now. I bet you he drives a sick Harley right now. He's like blinged it out with he looks like the Gauntlet.
He's probably brought a Lamborghini because that's every guy's midlife crisis in it.
I like to imagine Kevin Feige has a pimp chalice that has all the Infinity Stones on it. It has all the Rotten Tomatoes certified freshes on it.
Infinity chalice. It's like...
That's what he looks like, though, folks. Look it up. Look up Kevin Feige in 2021. He looks like he's seen some things.
So he would not be amiss in a Metal Gear movie.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all the topics. That's pretty good. That's a pretty good show. Yeah.
They got an hour out of it.
Yeah, you did. Yeah, you guys did, which is good. For those that are wondering, we're going to be doing... John didn't send in more topics, and I did communicate with them, so we're going to record those probably after we're done recording our WandaVision spoiler discussion. We'll do a couple of those Q&As that we got. So I've been keeping those, so you guys can expect those in the community tab to trickle out over the next month or so. He sent in some really good questions as well, which will be fun to do. Man, the MCU returns in like a day. Woo.
I say it's weird. It's weird that it's back.
It's weird that it's back because typically right now I would be shaking with excitement because the movie is a day away, but it's not a movie, so it's weird. Like, has a weird vibe to it.
It's going to be weird being like, why am I not seeing the ending of this thing?
Yeah,
why am I only getting 2 episodes of a show? Why is it 2 episodes of a show? Why is it not a movie? Right.
It is going to be weird.
Also, if I see that same one clip one more goddamn time, I ain't going to be happy. So, like, yes, Marvel, I get it. They have unusual company, they're an unusual couple.
It's the same clip over and over. It's the only one.
Well, we are an unusual couple, so I know Wanda, shut up, please.
It's like, God, what was that scene from Mandalorian that they kept showing? Like, the one scene of him walking around the building and, like, it was in, like, every piece of marketing. It was the first ever photo we saw. It was the poster for the show.
Oh, him in the market.
Yes. It was that, like, that was that's all we pretty much knew going into the first season. Like, is there anything else? Is it just him in this one market the entire time? Like,
I hope so. I still would have watched it, to be honest.
Oh, same.
And own the market, yes.
It's just.
But at least with WandaVision, I know that one clip is at least from the first 2 because it's all in black and white.
Yep.
I just got to get past that and I never have to hear that clip again.
Don't worry until we do the audio commentary, then we got to hear it again.
Oh, God, that's true. No. Well, at least then it'll be, so gone far removed at that point.
That is true.
Actually, no, it won't because we're doing it for January, aren't we?
Yeah, we're going to do it for January. But yeah.
All right, after January, I've never got to hear that clip.
Just skip. And it turns out you might never have to hear it on physical media because they don't think they're going to release physical media. So there's that.
That's unfortunate. I kind of would have liked to have.
Well, we'll see. That's probably going to change, but it'll be a couple years, I assume. It's like, here you go. It's a pitied release of all the stuff.
And it'll only ever be season 1 because that's what they do these days.
Daredevil never released 3rd season. You get the first 2, but nope.
I mean, at least you got the first 2. I don't even think we got that. I think we got the first, and that's it.
Oh, terrible. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. stopped at like season 4.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Just like, oh no.
Yep. So yeah,
I miss the days that TV shows got DVD release.
Same. Goddamn. Well, I guess that does it for this week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back next week. We're going to discuss a lot of stuff, and I'm assuming there's going to be a lot of theories and things on WandaVision, which there'll be plenty to talk about. So we're back in the swing. Marvel Studios is back, and it's not stopping from here till the end of time. So get hyped, everybody. Yeah, hopefully.
Hopefully nothing gets worse, and delaying one thing means this other thing's got to get delayed again.
Yeah. Hopefully there's no, I don't know, COVID 2099 edition.
Something.
Yeah.
At least we have 8 weeks of something. So
something,
there's that. I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth right now.
Yeah, that sounds about right. So thank you, everybody, and we'll catch you all next week.